So it's 5 minutes past. Once again, a wonderful good evening to all around the world, actually. So good evening here in Germany, but probably also good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. We actually had registrations from also the US, Canada, Australia, and many, many European countries. So welcome to you all. Nice to have you here and nice to have the opportunity to actually present during this webinar on the Germany Lacrosse Convention. So we also have a guest who just joined right now, who's TJ Buchanan from World Lacrosse. As World Lacrosse and also the European Lacrosse Federation will be supporting the event, the Germany Lacrosse Convention 2022, and of course the connected Sixes Nations Cups as well in box lacrosse, and also in the brand new discipline World Lacrosse Sixes, as well on the women's and on the men's side. We will see an incredible year 2022, and we expect that not only for Germany lacrosse, but also for lacrosse globally. So first of all, we will return from the pandemic on the international lacrosse stage. We will have a couple of world championships. So we have the men's U20 world championships, we have the women's world championships, and we will see lacrosse back at a multi-sports event at the World Games 2022. So with already an incredibly crowded schedule for next year, the question is, why actually adding another event? So what we wanted to do is we wanted to give you all the opportunity to actually join the event, to come also to Germany and to join lacrosse, to see lacrosse actually already in May, not only in the summer period, but right after Easter, starting ahead to actually have a great event, and one of the biggest ones in Europe, hopefully. This, of course, includes all of you. And this is the opportunity that we want to use tonight to give you a couple of insights, what we have planned for 2022 and what we have planned for the Germany Lacrosse Convention and also the Connected Nations Cups. In a couple of minutes, I will be joined by my co-host tonight, who is Simon Krause, who is the president of the German Lacrosse Federation or Germany Lacrosse Association, shortly DLACSV. My name is Jacob. I'm the vice president for DLACSV for a couple of years now. But Simon will take over in a couple of minutes after sorting out a couple of some smaller technical problems, and then he will take over and guide you through the night. Also, a very, very warm welcome to Jim Scher, who has just joined right now, the CEO of World Lacrosse. So wonderful good evening to all of you. Once again, the Nation Cups came from the original idea that we wanted to play sixes and we wanted to have the opportunity to play sixes before it enters the world stage at the World Games, and especially with a couple of top European teams. So that was like the first idea to actually host an event and think around that in Germany. And after we started to think about that idea, it became bigger and bigger and even bigger. And in fact, what we made out of it is we want to create a highlight event for as many lacrosse people to take part in, but not only to address the lacrosse community, but also to address communities beyond our classic target audience. So we want to address especially the public. We want to address, for example, hockey players. We want to address the general public, and we want to follow our strategy that we have outlined as Germany Lacrosse to actually make lacrosse more visible, to get visible with our sport, and to make it bigger and wider known. So we did a little bit of marketing research also in Germany, especially even in the younger age groups. We have about 50 to 60% who actually know about lacrosse. So that is, at least up to our knowledge, quite low, because of course Germany is a soccer or football country, and we want to do something against it. We want to make lacrosse, hopefully at some point, as big as possible, but actually to get visible at first and to make lacrosse, or to actually hit the international stage. And with that, a very warm welcome to you, Simon, and I proudly hand over to you after a quick welcome that I already did, for you to take us through the night.
Thanks, Jakob, for the introduction. So just trying to share the presentation. I hope everyone is having a good, exciting election night in Germany. So, are you able to see the slides?
Nope, not yet.
Okay.
We just saw the PowerPoint, so probably just take the other screen.
Okay, that should work now. So, good evening, everybody, or hello, good morning, or good afternoon, depending on where you are currently. So thanks for joining us tonight. We're happy to introduce a new event format that we have been working on in Germany for the past 1.5 years. Upfront, a lot of people have been involved in this, and this will just be a first step to demonstrate to you what we're expecting for next year, to share some information. And obviously, this town hall meeting is really intended also to have you being involved and asking some questions. The Germany Lacrosse Convention 2022, a format that some of you from the name might sound familiar. The US Lacrosse Convention is one of the major lacrosse events in the US, has been hosted for over a decade. And we thought that really to showcase our sport on different levels, we require some events like this and have partnered up with people to come up with the idea. So what is the agenda? We want to keep the meeting quick today to give you the opportunity to also ask questions. We want to demonstrate the concept behind this event, the partners that are involved, sneak peek into the different program aspects, and how we want to crowdfund and market this whole event. The concept is pretty simple. We want to provide a lacrosse event in Europe that is appealing for the broader public, partners, and sponsors. So we want to extend the platform and range that we can grow our sport. We want to establish a European-based lacrosse platform that can interconnect with the global lacrosse community. We want to showcase lacrosse at the highest level in the different disciplines that we have currently available. And we want to use digital tools and media production to grow the sport and bring it really up into the public domain. What is really important to us is this is not an event just made for Germany. It's not the German Lacrosse Convention, it's the Germany Lacrosse Convention. And who knows, maybe in 10 years it will be the England Lacrosse Convention or the Netherlands Lacrosse Convention, right? So what we want to establish is an event platform that can be really used to utilize our sport throughout the continent of Europe and connect ourselves throughout North America and the other nations in Asia, in the Pacific region, in Africa, etc. What we really intend to do is kind of get away from this independence that some nations have, or that we all kind of strive in our own aspiring to become better sports and better athletes. We want to try to bring everyone together, because as a community together, we are really unique. And I think this is something that sets us apart from a lot of other sports. So the Lacrosse Convention, as you may have seen already on YouTube, it's featuring colors that might be very familiar. So obviously, with the great ambitions of World Lacrosse and the whole international lacrosse scene to become an Olympic sport, we thought, well, why don't we just grab up the colors that we have in the Olympic logo and kind of use them as motivation of what this event platform really means. Essentially, we are looking for the 4 keywords, which is play, learn, grow, and connect. Something that we all want to do when we perform our sport. Playing means we compete and showcase the sport its highest level, make it appealing for everyone. We want to learn together from our experience within the game and from one another. We want to grow the sport, grow as players and teams, but also grow together as a community. And we want to connect among each others, but also with different partners and with the public domain, cross borders and disciplines. So really have a platform that showcase all of these, and the Germany Lacrosse Convention is intended to have. Obviously, this is something we cannot do alone. And we have been working with a lot of partners throughout the last year to make this event happening. First of all, we're looking globally. World Lacrosse, as currently the leading organization that brings our sport forward, is in strong support of the event. And we are really happy to have them as a strong partner, not only showcasing this on a national level, but also on an intercontinental level. In Europe, and we are partnering with ELF, but also certain national governing bodies that will be present in the Nation Cups, being England, the Czech Republic, the Netherlands, Poland, and Switzerland. But also other NGBs are welcome to join us in organizing this event. Within Germany, ELXV is taking the lead, but we're also in collaborations with other German lacrosse club. We are in contact with the German Intercross Association, and we are in strong contact with wheelchair lacrosse sports associations throughout Germany. Why, you will see in a bit. And then we have the local organizations. The city of Dresden is in strong support of such an international event. The USV Dresden is a local lacrosse club in Dresden that is taking care of the local organization. And Eislöwen Ice Hockey Club is a club that is basically the host of the event, where everything will take care. And with them, we try to grow together the lacrosse, in particular box lacrosse community, with ice hockey, because we feel that those can be really good connections. Convention program, just simply outlined, is not finished. It's basically an open plate where everyone can bring up different ideas, and we're happy to include them if possible. Again, we are trying to grasp the four different models of the event and dissect basically our event into these. First of all, play. We want to showcase lacrosse on the highest level. We will have nation cups featuring box lacrosse for men's, women's sixes, and men's sixes nations cup. We will try to have an international masters tournament for age group 35 plus, and we will showcase speed lacrosse for the U12 and U16 level as something that can be played for all age groups, all levels of play, really being an inclusive event. We want to learn from one another. We will feature a coaching clinic in combination with ELF. We will have a women's box lacrosse clinic in cooperation with ELF. World Lacrosse will provide a ref clinic and potentially other clinics that we are currently discussing. There will be men's and women's clinic in different disciplines. We will have a box lacrosse goalie clinic, which we believe is really important because currently most of the goaltenders in European club base are from North America. So we want to support that by having pro coaches there. We want to have an NGB leadership workshop that really helps us to grow together and learn from one another. We will have a diversity and inclusion workshop and youth lacrosse workshop, basically stimulate the growth on the young level. And then the grow aspect of the game. We want to feature wheelchair lacrosse. We want to also showcase intercross, which is something that vastly ignored by the lacrosse community and kind of played as a separate community. We want to bring these communities together. We will showcase a stick maker that piece should be presentation. We will have a world record attempt or multiple world record attempts to also make the event appealing for the broader public. There will be live streaming of the event, of the Nation Cups, but also other aspects of the event. And we will be trying to use this event to produce a lacrosse documentary we can use in post-production after the event. Last but not least, we want to connect. We want to have a plenary discussions about the traditions and the future of lacrosse. We want to have a lacrosse fair where manufacturers and partners can showcase their equipment and other aspects, which are usually not so present in Europe. So we are really trying to look to partner with North American companies. And we want to have an NGB and federations roundtable to really bring up the important aspects of our sport on the international level. There will be a big welcome party with a huge barbecue. There will be also a big players party inside the arena, but probably the first lacrosse party that has been hosted inside a lacrosse ring. We believe that will be a lot of fun. And then throughout the event, we will have the fan zone, which will be small aspects throughout the arena and the fields outside where people can connect, they can sit together, they can have a drink or a steak at the barbecue. So all these aspects are in a super multi-dimensional program. You can already see that this is a massive lineup, and we are quite fortunate and happy that we can partner with Lineupper, which is an app provider for convention programs, really pack this huge multi-dimensional convention program into a simple app. Everyone can not only select their own program virtually on their smartphone, you can also chat and connect with the participants. You can make certain small chat rooms where, for example, NGBs or NGB leaders can connect, but also World Lacrosse can connect with different other people from the community, and you can kind of really interact with one another. So this allows us to basically allow you to get the full experience of this really complex program and have the your most lacrosse experience. The whole event will be showcased in Dresden. The Energieverbund Arena is a multi-sports event. You can see the map here. The event will be showcased inside a modern ice hockey arena with a capacity of 4,500 participants. Our intention, taking that COVID allows, is to fill the arena up with participants and spectators. but we will also have around 5 lacrosse fields outside, and which will also feature stands, live streaming. So the whole area will be open to the public, and we will really be trying to gather a lot of people from Germany, from Dresden, but also from whole Europe and maybe North America if you're interested in coming over. Of course, this event will be, I would say, very ambitious in terms of organization and funding. Our funding strategy is based on 4 columns. We'll be looking at public funds that we already have gathered some contributions. Sponsoring will be an aspect where we will really be trying to bring this event to a marketing domain, which other lacrosse events, in particular in Europe, haven't been able to. One central aspect in the center of this column is the crowdfunding. There will be a crowdfunding campaign starting from November, running until mid-December, where you can purchase tickets, clinics, you can purchase some merchandise of the event, you can buy yourself into participating at different world record attempts, and you can purchase the latest gear by our sponsors. And in addition, the ticketing itself will be also a critical factor, but the crowdfunding itself is a critical aspect, and we're really happy. If you can follow our social media stream, we will be dropping certain information leading up to the crowdfunding. And then in November, we hope that all of you come together and support this event by your donations and contributions. The second aspect is the sponsoring. We have been working with a marketing agency for about a year now, who have been, first of all, involved in the concept of this event, but secondly, also been trying to market the sport throughout major sponsorships. So the event will be international. The program will be in English. Most of the clinics, etc., will be held in English. So we are currently in discussions with German sponsors. But if you have any international partners that would be interested in buying this into this event, feature advertising throughout the live streaming. There will be probably, depending on the success of the crowdfunding, German television participation. We will have the lacrosse documentary, which really features unique platforms for sponsors to come in. And we are really hoping that you take this to your NGBs, your teams, your clubs, and go out to your company, the employees you work for, and say, look, there's going to be a great lacrosse event in Germany next year. It's a unique aspect for you to come in, connect with a unique international community. And we really believe that once we follow this path, we will be successful in making this event a success. So with this, I want to give it over to you guys and answer some questions about the event. We're really looking forward to have you. And I want to highlight again, follow us on social media. We will drop every second day new information about the event, detail about the program. And last but not least, I want to thank you. I want to thank the people that are currently here from World Lacrosse, and also Retail Lacrosse USA, to support us here. And maybe I can first give it up to Jim and TJ to say a couple of words, also express your support of the event and show how important it is to have platforms like this throughout international lacrosse. Thanks.
Well, thank you, Simon. And I first would like to say start by thanking Simon and Jakob and German Lacrosse. You are one of the most progressive of all of our national governing bodies, certainly as engaged as any national governing body and as progressive as any governing body. And we really appreciate the ideas around the Germany Lacrosse Convention 2022 and especially working on the development of lacrosse sixes as a new discipline. As we all know, World Lacrosse launched lacrosse sixes well over almost 2 years ago with trial rules and exhibitions and trial competitions for a year. We then refined the rules and came back and launched the brand in May of 2021. We've had a number of pretty exciting competitions with the rules that we've set upon for the first year, and we anticipate that continuing through 2022 up into the World Games in Birmingham, Alabama in late July, early August of 2022. So this convention and emphasis on lacrosse sixes fits well within our planning to build this as a discipline for the future for lacrosse. And we're really looking at lacrosse sixes to help stimulate growth and density of play in existing countries, growth in new countries, and then decreasing the competitive spread between the top countries and those who are on the cusp of performing better in international competition. So we're very appreciative of this convention and German lacrosse's efforts in this regard. So I want to again thank Simon, thank Jakob, and all of German lacrosse. World Lacrosse is pleased to support this convention, and we will do so in a number of ways, and we're continuing to work that out, but we're very pleased to support this convention. So with that said, thanks, and I'll go back to you, Simon, for questions of the audience or others.
Thank you very much, Jim. I mean, I can only agree that obviously the convention taking place in May will basically kick off a very large full-pack lacrosse calendar of this year, and we were quite happy that we can feature also a couple of World Games teams in the Sixes event in the Nation Cups, and I believe one of the major Sixes events next year. Jakob, maybe you can moderate the questions. Not sure which platforms we will have for people to engage.
Yes, sure. So first of all of our participants in the live webinar can actually use the Q&A function that you will find down below in your Zoom client. We are also monitoring our YouTube live stream. So if you have joined there, please feel free to ask your questions also on YouTube. So we will try to answer them all as they come along. So far, I haven't seen any questions in neither of the channels, neither here in the Q&A tool, nor in the chat, nor via YouTube. But I'll propose that we give it like a couple of minutes so that we can see whether something comes in or not.
So maybe in the meantime, I will get a little bit into the details of the program, because some of you may have recognized that there are some aspects that are quite unusual for lacrosse events. Certainly to anyone that has been to US LaxCon, you will be fairly aware of how such a convention usually goes. There's an amazing amount of vendors. There are clinics by pro players and coaches. But we really felt that that this aspect of diversity and inclusion, which is, I would consider already a root aspect of lacrosse itself, that we want to feature this, and wheelchair lacrosse, or certainly lacrosse for people with any kind of disabilities, it's something that we value, that we have started to implement in our strategic plan in Germany, and we are really happy that the German Paralympic Association is in support of this event. We'll have great partners for this, and it's not only meant for people which may have certain disabilities, but wheelchair lacrosse is an inclusive sport. So if you may be having a bad knee, or you can't play the sport anymore, running because the young guns are too fast for you, wheelchair lacrosse will be there for you to try it out. And we really hope to stimulate growth for this version of lacrosse as being the first major international wheelchair lacrosse event. We're happy that also there's some large interest from USA wheelchair lacrosse to join this. And we hope that also World Lacrosse is currently already recognizing wheelchair lacrosse. There's a rule book out there, and I know that there's plans for a working group, and we are really happy to interconnect the European ambitions in this regard.
And I neglected to mention anything about that, Simon, if I may. You know, it's a discipline and an initiative that World Lacrosse is embracing for the future. We think one day that wheelchair lacrosse could be in the Paralympic Games, as we hope and have aspirations that lacrosse will be in the Olympic Games. So wheelchair lacrosse is a great discipline and outlet for individuals that are pursuing adaptive sport. And we'd be very pleased, again, to partner with DLAX-V to support this initiative on wheelchair lacrosse. We think it's a very important feature and initiative for World Lacrosse in the future in our countries. And if you just got to see any part of the Paralympic Games from Tokyo, it continues to grow in both its competitive nature as well as the reach to the general public. And so a great initiative for all of us in sport.
Yeah, and we really recognize that World Lacrosse is also on the forefront there. I mean, it's quite amazing, the facets of the game that you're currently in support of and developing. And we believe that strong lead from international organizations, followed by regional support and enthusiasm and local events where people can really connect and learn from one another will be the key feature to grow our sport, especially outside North America, because I mean, the challenge is quite obvious. I mean, we're just lacking public domain. Lacrosse is a product that is not very difficult to sell. Once someone has had a stick and plays the game, it's a self-made sport basically. It's not so difficult as a product to sell, but if no one knows about it, and we really try to change that.
Absolutely. So speaking of challenges and speaking of future events, we had a question coming in via the Q&A function, and it says, congrats to your work. After your event, will you be able to help other NGBs or regions to actually propose or start setting up a same kind of event?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think I've mentioned this briefly throughout the presentation. We really tried to kickstart something here. This is not something which we will belong to Germany itself. We are trying to start up something that will happen regularly. If other nations are interested in hosting similar events, I mean, there are some great sports cities throughout Europe. There are some great NGBs. We certainly would like to interconnect beyond the continent of Europe. I mean, given the pandemic situation still currently ongoing, it just makes sense to keep this more regional. But certainly, I mean, if there's interest in Asia, for example, or other countries in Europe to join these initiatives, we will be, so we are happy to support. What we will do is, like Tim has mentioned, we are quite active currently in collaborations with World Lacrosse. We usually try to make everything open access to all the NGBs. So any kind of initiatives that we are running, we'll write down in English and try to make it accessible to the NGBs, because there, I mean, frankly, there's no real competition among national governing bodies. I mean, we really try to grow the sport internationally, and if what we have learned helps other NGBs to grow them, we're happy to share that information. So to answer your question, yes, we hope this event platform will be held in other countries or cities in the future, and we are happy to support any kind of ambitions. In addition, also provide the information to World Lacrosse so they can hand it out to maybe also other continents, South America. We believe that there's a huge potential in the Asian region for lacrosse, and we certainly also strive towards hosting this event and have a more Asian, European, North American connection. So something like that would be brilliant, and we all hope that traveling on long distances and internationally will be easy and available in the near foreseeable future. So yes, to answer your question, yes, we will try to make that available for other NGBs as well.
Oh, it's a great, if I can add, Simon, it's a great question. And it's always nice when your members run more quickly than you do, because this was an idea that was on the back burner at World Lacrosse, and we've had so many things going on, we never got to it. But it's great that DLACSB is already ahead of us and putting out a blueprint for all of us to follow in the future.
Excellent. I wish we would have known about these plans, but I mean, I think it's a scenario that is quite often happening in lacrosse internationally, that there are a lot of ideas, and it's probably also events like these conventions where you just have the ability to sit down and really talk about this and brainstorm. And I mean, the Blue Skies working group and other working groups in World Lacrosse have already done a tremendous job in really changing the way that lacrosse is organized internationally. I mean, looking back 5 to 10 years, I mean, it's not even a difference. It's like a completely new sport, so to speak, in terms of organization. So, Jakob, do we have any other comments, maybe also from the YouTube stream?
No, actually not at the moment. So nothing coming in via YouTube, no more questions in the Q&A tool so far. So I just want to take the opportunity to actually hint you to our Germany Lacrosse Convention website, which will be available at gerlaxcon.com shortly. Currently, you already find it up in German, but we will also add English as a second language soon. So it pretty much looks like this in the background. So you see the Germany Lacrosse Convention what I can also present you is the Sixes Nations Cups from 20th to May 22nd in Dresden next year. So we have a whole package for you to present and to enjoy actually next year. And we're looking forward to actually welcoming you to Dresden. There is one more question coming in, and it's, are you searching for benevolent people in order to help you? So more volunteers to actually support the event. While I would say this is a clear yes, I would hand over to Simon again for more details and whom to connect to.
Yeah, so the way the event organization will run is that we will have the crowdfunding in November and December. Given that we will reach our target for financing the event, we will then go in the hard organization, which will involve then the search for volunteers. There will certainly be a large necessity for volunteers, and we're happy to have everyone over. We'll provide certain packages for volunteers involving accommodation, local food, etc. Obviously, a free ticket to the convention itself. And so there will be more information on the website. But again, most of the stuff we will also highlight in little bits on Instagram and other social media platforms of Germany Lacrosse. So feel free to follow these channels if you want to be updated. They will be available in German and English. And as I've mentioned, the convention itself will mainly be in English language, so it's really intended to be an international audience. And so we are really looking forward for new people to come there to help out volunteers. And yes, certainly stop by. But most importantly, and I want to highlight this again, we can only grow as a sport if we really work together, which means that share each other's posts on social media, share and comment what World Lacrosse is sharing via their platforms. If we want to be visible, it's really important that we use our own networks and appear or work together as a community. I mean, most of the potential that we have in the lacrosse sport is simply not being used because we are thinking usually too individually. And we really believe that once we get over these barriers and really start to connect and work together on the national governing level, on the federations level, on the club level, on the personal player level, if we start to work together, think lacrosse in our daily lives, discuss it with friends, make these events visible for other people, there are basically no limits for our sport. I mean, there's huge potential. We just have to get to people to know it.
Perfect. Thank you very much. So as I still don't see any more questions, neither in the chat, nor in the Q&A, nor on the YouTube live stream, I once again thank you all for your attention, your time this morning, this afternoon, this night. And I can just say, stay tuned, join our website, join our social media channels. So follow us, for example, on Instagram at Germany Lacrosse, follow us on Twitter or follow us on Facebook, and stay updated with the latest news regarding the Germany Lacrosse Convention and the Nations Cups, Box Lacrosse and Sixes Nations Cups next year. So stay tuned for a great event, for great lacrosse year 2022. And of course, for the end of this year, which will be the time when we will actually launch the crowdfunding campaign to make this event actually happen, and also to give you the opportunity to actually purchase, hopefully, the first tickets and to put them likely under a Christmas tree if you're looking for some decent presents. So this will be a great opportunity to do so. And of course, this helps us in planning and making this event really happen. And so hopefully see you somewhere around at a lacrosse field during the conferences, at the World Lacrosse General Assembly, or somewhere around. And of course, next year in May 20th to 22nd in Dresden. Thank you so much for your time. Have a good night.